Friends, we are live. Rusty back with you here for CFLW, the show for this Monday, September the 8th. I hope you are doing well. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. Once again, we've got some more active, potentially impactful weather across Central Florida for at least the next few days. Already some showers and a few isolated thunderstorms sneaking on shore, so a lot to get into, and that's exactly what we'll do. Hope you're doing well again. CFLW, the show, is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida. You see their logo right underneath me. They are your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They do cover the entire state of Florida, so it doesn't matter where you live, from the Panhandle to the Keys. They have interest, a home somewhere, you get damage of any kind, wind, hail, hurricane, they'll walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. They offer free consultation and policy review, so you really have nothing to lose. Go to leanombilaw.com if you guys would like more information. Okay, great to see you on this Monday afternoon. Hey, Nancy, how are you? Wedgefield, a steamy 92. With a 63% humidity, very common where we haven't had a few showers already. Hey, William, how you doing? I'm doing well. We did have a very brief tornado in the Palm Bay area yesterday. I'll get a little bit more into that coming up, but just a quick little spin up, and an opportunity to see something like that again is not out of the question over the next couple of days with this boundary in place. Hey, Blue Goose, how you doing? 84 degrees under 81% humidity, partly cloudy skies. Well, we'll see, William. Right now, the tropics are quiet. Invest 91L is dead, which of course overall is good news. We don't want to see too much in any too big problems for anyone. So let's talk about what's happening right now, because we've already had some showers push their way on shore and an isolated rumble of thunder from just south of St. Augustine, Crescent Beach there in St. Johns County, to the central and the western sides of Flagler into Putnam counties. Again, relatively speaking, these are just some showers at this point in time, especially back down from Flagler County to the south, but it shows you what's already happening. We're developing some rain fairly early on this Monday. And again, we have a frontal boundary that has continued to be draped over the area. Right now, the analysis is that it's basically over our northern areas, and there's a lot of moisture that's going to be developing into this and feeding in from the south. Now, a couple of things will come into play. Obviously, we have our sea breezes this time of the year, which will both be trying to march on shore. We also have a very light, and I mean a very light southwest steering current. So once again, slow, erratic movement of these showers and storms that'll become more prominent deeper into this Monday that we go is expected. And because that steering current, although it's very light, is out of the southwest, there is an opportunity that later this evening, some of the storms will actually try and work their way back off towards the east coast. And there's also an opportunity that your heaviest thunderstorm activity may not come until the evening hours. We had that yesterday as an example in the Orlando area, where the strongest storms were after the sunset hour, and locally heavy rainfall will continue to be a threat. We've had flood advisories the last several afternoons. We've had 3, 4, 5 inches of rain in some spots. And again, we've had some active weather. No severe thunderstorm warnings, no tornado warnings. Even that spin up was so quick to get going that the Weather Service never issued a tornado warning on that one as well. But a couple of special weather statements for mainly winds of up to 40 miles an hour. Another cluster of showers at the hour with one lone lightning strike is going to be in portions of northern Osceola into northern sides of Polk and Osceola counties towards Kissimmee, Celebration, the 192 corridor here. Showers again, and you notice there's actually a little bit of north movement with this, so the southwest flow is already picking some of this up. So wouldn't be surprised if we start to see some showers sneak into the southern sides of the metro Orlando area through this 1 o'clock hour. That does include Lake Buena Vista and the attractions area as well. So got to monitor for that. And that's where we actually have a little bit of lightning right now down towards Four Corners, the 27 corridor towards Champions Gate as it connects into I-4, which is always a clog point on I-4. And then just some showers again, kind of drifting into the northern sides of Polk County. We also have another cluster of showers and storms about ready to march their way in through portions of, the Tampa Bay area right now. We'll switch over to the Tampa radar to show you guys that. As you guys know, here at CFLW, I have access to all the live radar data so we can do what we need to do. So we're going live here out of the Tampa area. Again, this is mainly just some light rain right now across the Skyway, Bradenton, Sarasota area, Anna Maria Island, Holmes Beach. Still relatively quiet in Pinellas County. We do have a little shower right now over the Palm Harbor area, but there's a lot more activity that is obviously sitting just offshore. Clusters of stronger storms kind of just waiting to try and sneak in. Now, as I've mentioned, at this point in time, you're not going to see a lot of forward speed with any of this stuff. This is just kind of clusters of storms that are out there right now. Eventually, though, this activity should try and come back inland. And again, a little bit farther south, you're going to have a little bit higher moisture content here. So some of the thunderstorms on the southern third of the state could be stronger. But for us in Central Florida, we still have a very widespread opportunity for some very prolific rainfall. So flooding could be an issue here in a couple of spots. Hey, Jesse, how you doing? Spring Hill in the house. More clouds than sun, 87 degrees out there for you. I hear you with that. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at your current temperatures with the visible satellite imagery. It looks like this at the hour. As these temperatures will come on, I'll pause them here at the actual 1 o'clock time frame instead of looping. So again, obviously, temperatures are down a bit in some spots, okay? You know, you got 84 in Titusville right now, 82 in St. Pete, 81 in Sarasota. So the temperatures aren't going to be outrageously hot. As a matter of fact, for the next several days, I've got many locations staying in the 80s for daytime highs. We're going to have even earlier initiation of showers and some thunderstorms over the next couple of days, especially tomorrow and Wednesday, before we try and dry out a bit on Thursday. But temperatures have been held at bay a little bit. Now, again, it doesn't necessarily mean it feels much better than that. You know, dew points at the hour are all in the mid 70s. So you have a lot of, 86, 87, 88 degree temperatures with dew points in the mid 70s. So when you factor that in, your feels like temperatures, again, are going to be in the upper 90s to even near 100 in a couple of spots. There are obviously, areas where it's much cooler than that because of the rain and the extra clouds. But again, on the warmer side, even at the 1 o'clock hour, so it feels like it's 98 in Leesburg, feels like it's 98 in Orlando, Sanford, down towards MCO. 100 is a feels like temperature there towards the Zephyr Hills area there. 100 in Plant City, 102 for feels like temperature in the Brandon area, 98 in downtown Tampa. So steamy with this extra cloud coverage because it's trapping in all of that moisture at the lower levels. Switch over to the radar presentation out of all of this as well. So this is going to be your we'll do the visible sat rad. So this is going to be your composite radar look. I just want to give you guys a broader perspective here of what's happening. Now, a couple of things to point out. There is a mid-level rotation right here. I mean, you don't need to be a meteorologist to see that, right? You can see their counterclockwise spin. But it's really interesting, and I love this high-resolution visible satellite imagery, because you can see the higher cloud tops right there with the thunderstorms, the radar coming on right there. And then you can see the lower level spin. If you notice that these clouds are kind of passing over at the higher levels here from that spin. Now, this is not expected to become anything tropical, but obviously it's an enhancement of what's going on. And along this boundary and off to the south, this is exactly what we've been getting for the last couple of days here. I'm just going to switch over. So I'm going to drop off the temperatures, bring back on that composite. I wanted to just get it to where the radar's looping synchronously with this. So again, pressure-wise, I'm going to put on the pressures. I'm going to put on the fronts. When you see these white lines, those are your pressure fields. You notice that nothing is very tight there. But again, we do have this trough indicated in this orange line, which is right over this spin. So heavier rainfall is possible today along our west coast from Manatee and Sarasota County, Hillsborough, Pinellas, kind of sneaking up towards portions of Pasco and Hernando counties as well. It's just an interesting feature embedded with all of the activity that we've had lately. So that's kind of the newest thing to pass along. But again, enhancing the thunderstorm chance that's going to be out there. And it's going to become widespread later today. Heavier storms, and it's going to be more active earlier in the day the next few afternoons. Before we get too far, let's take a live look at our camera network, live look outside to Winter Garden. Again, a little bit of blue sky, a little bit of some overcast from time to time, a little bit of development of some of those vertical clouds in the distance there. Again, we're looking towards the west, so that would be looking towards the west coast. And obviously you can see current conditions across Central Florida scrolling at the bottom of your screen, but no imminent rain is likely in the Winter Garden area at this point in time. To Winter Park we go. This is going to be our lean log cam there in Winter Park. Again, it kind of tells the story. We have variably cloudy skies. From time to time, we just have the thin, high, wispy clouds, the cirrus clouds. From other times, we're building up a couple of showers and storms. So again, north, we're looking to the east here from Winter Park. So north of Winter Park, looking pretty good. South and east of Winter Park, a little development of some showers and an isolated thunderstorm. Bit of a breeze in Conway, but nothing outrageous. And again, relatively fair weather clouds at this point in time. Not a lot of vertical development, but again, a little bit closer to the coast, a little bit thicker cloud coverage there. So the rain so far obviously has been very hit or miss, but the fact that it's 1 o'clock and we're already getting a couple of showers kind of helps to tell the story for the more active weather later today. And now we look back towards Lake Buena Vista from our tractions camera back to those thunderstorms in northern Osceola and Polk counties. You can clearly see the low clouds there, the shelf cloud beginning to move in, and this is trying to creep a little bit closer to the Lake Buena Vista area. So we do have the opportunity for at least some showers to get closer to the Magic Kingdom and Epcot and Universal and SeaWorld and all the attractions in this area of Central Florida as we go through the 1 o'clock hour. Again, at this point in time, there's only one lightning strike, but you don't want to see this at 1 o'clock kind of creeping up towards the attractions already. Again, the opportunity to get hit with multiple rounds of showers and storms will be in the forecast the next several days. Let me swing back over to the chat. Hey Farah, how you doing? Good afternoon to you. I hope you're doing well. Happy Monday to you as well. By the way, before we go too far, I do want to say a very happy birthday to my father, Bob. Today is his birthday. I know he's watching, or he should be watching. So happy birthday to my dad. You guys want to throw some hearts in the chat for him? I'd really appreciate that. Hopefully we'll see him soon here. Still lives in Citrus County. So happy birthday, Dad. All right, on over to Blue Goose. Says nor'easter setting up northeast Florida. Yeah, I hear you. It kind of feels like that, doesn't it? Thank you, Farrah, for letting everyone know to take a second to hit that like button for me as well. Watching up that saying it seems to be wandering in. Yeah, it's trying to also sneak in as well. Look, the sea breezes are helping, and I do expect there to be the opportunity to get a little bit of the sea breeze along the East Coast to march inland early in the day, and then that southwest flow to push the storms back off towards the east. So you can kind of get hit with a 1-2 punch. And right along this boundary, I do expect there to be some heavier activity later in the day as well, no doubt about it. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you. William, if you want to send me any video, the easiest way to do it is cflwlive@gmail.com. I believe that is in the description either of this video or on the main page of the channel. But yeah, cflwlive@gmail.com is the easiest way to do it. Don't make it too large though, right? It's only Gmail. So if it's a video, I'd keep it under 15 seconds or chop it up and send it to me in 15-second increments as well. All right, so let's talk about some of the risks that we have for today. So I'm going to go back out to our broad view and then bring this up. This is your excessive rainfall risk. If you are viewing anywhere in the peninsula today, it doesn't really matter from Jacksonville towards Miami, you are under the risk for some flash flooding. We have had multiple areas with flood advisories and or flash flood warnings the last several afternoons. So we do have another flash flood risk. It's the lowest level, the 1 out of 4, the 5 to 10% chance of exceeding flash flood criteria, but it does include all of Florida in the peninsula for today. So doesn't matter, Daytona, Orlando, Tampa, Palm Bay, Ocala, Crystal River, wherever you are, you could fall under some excessive rainfall later today, and that does go all the way down into South Florida. The risk for severe storms for today is just that general risk. But again, we have all of these boundaries that have come into play, right? And just like we had yesterday, there was a very brief spin-up tornado that was probably on the ground for a few seconds but caused a little bit of minor damage in some spots in the Palm Bay area. When we have the collision of these boundaries with all of that mid and upper level support with the boundaries that are in place here, so you get the low-level sea breeze convergence, but there's a lot of lift and instability in the atmosphere as well. I can't rule out that there is an opportunity to see, again, an additional, rotation area or an isolated funnel cloud or a tornado. It's not out of the question, right? Over the last 6 hours, we've had no reports The one report in Palm Bay is a little bit too old here on the system to show you that. But again, there was a brief funnel and tornado in Palm Bay area yesterday. So I can't rule that out again for today. That's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on, as we go through. But just like yesterday, it's not going to be surprising, guys, okay? It's simply not going to be surprising if there's not even a tornado warning, because these spin-ups occur so quickly as well, right? So you're probably going to see in some areas some scary looking clouds, a little bit of rotation from time to time in a couple of these spots. It's not out of the question for the next couple of days with this boundary that's going to be in play. Yep, thanks, Farrah. That's it. So I just brought on the advisories that are currently into play. With all of the thunderstorms offshore, you have marine weather statements for the nearshore and offshore waters from Crystal River, Crystal River, Citrus County area all the way down to Venice and even down towards Port Charlotte and Fort Myers. This includes Tampa and Hillsborough Bays as well. So again, this is just kind of an idea of this. The bottom line is that there's a lot of thunderstorms out there. It's not great for boaters. It's especially not good for small craft. Winds are going to kick up to 30 plus knots from time to time within some of these storms. Now, the flood warnings that you see for Volusia and Lake counties continue to be for the St. Johns River near Astor. Remember, we talked about this, that minor flooding is occurring and will probably continue to occur, that, we slowly build up the floodwaters along the St. Johns. That means it takes a long time for them to recede as well. It does expire tonight, but they've just continued to issue this. Minor flooding is occurring and minor flooding is forecast. So St. John's near Astor, that'll continue until early Friday afternoon. So they're saying at least for the week ahead as well. And then you do have more small craft advisories up towards St. Augustine and Jacksonville with all the other activity that I expect us to see. All right, so let's get into the forecast, guys, and I do have some city-by-city forecasts for you guys as well, but we'll start off with our HRRR model, our high-resolution rapid refresh. Pull that up. All right, I'll start just the next hour. Get my lean law tumbler going. Still diet green tea, Publix diet green tea. Wet my whistle. All right, well, again, don't need a rocket scientist to show you how wet and stormy it's going to be across the area here the next several days. Later today, kind of all day Tuesday, kind of all day Wednesday, and then trying to break this apart and dry out a little bit on Thursday. You can see the spin in the atmosphere here that the HRRR is also picking up on. It's clear in our high-res visible satellite imagery. It's very clear on the HRRR model as well. This is just an enhancement of everything that's over our area at this point in time to continue to provide widespread, numerous thunderstorms, slow, erratic movement, producing low-level rotation. Can't rule out a funnel cloud or a brief tornado, but that convergence of all those boundaries and the slow erratic movement, the most widespread issue is going to be your very heavy rainfall. Some spots, the last couple of afternoons, have had 3, 4, 5 inches of rain on a daily total. I expect that to continue for today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Again, it's going to be isolated, and not a lot of spots are going to get that, but I can't rule out that starting from Friday of last week to Wednesday of this week that we get some spots that will hit 10 inches of rain. It's not out of the question, right? More than anything, we're going to see a few inches of rain in a lot of locations, but we get a couple of spots that get that 3, 4 inches of rain twice out of this entire time frame, and you've already snapped your finger. You've got 6 to 8 inches just right there. Hey, there you go, Blue Goose. Got that rain alert. So the bottom line is, if you have outdoor plans the next couple of days, even if it's in the morning, you got to be weather aware. Storms are going to be numerous. Storms are going to be slow moving. Storms are going to be producing a fair amount of lightning as well. So this is the remainder of our Monday. And again, we have, generally speaking, storms marching from east to west early in our northern areas closer to the boundary. Near this spin, storms are marching from southwest to northeast. So guess what happens, guys? There is a natural convergence of that down here that should then try and push the storms back to the east a little bit later in the day. If anything else, they'll just become a lot more widespread. So you can clearly see again here, if we go back into the, come on, Rusty, get it back there. If we go back to the early afternoon hours again for today, clusters of storms riding east to west in our northern areas like Alachua and Levy and Berrien and Putnam and St. Johns and Flagler counties, with some embedded thunderstorms across I-95, and then another cluster of thunderstorms with that rotation spinning in. As I've mentioned, the farther south that you go, there's a little bit more instability, a little bit higher moisture content, and just the opportunity, I think, for some stronger storms down there. So, it could be Manatee and Sarasota, or southern Polk or Osceola, or maybe Indian River County as well. And again, from time to time, we could get a special weather statement, and mainly your special weather statements are going to be for winds of 40 miles an hour. That's what we had a lot of yesterday, really marginal special weather statement storms, because again, rainfall rates and lightning have nothing to do with special weather statements and severe thunderstorm warnings being issued. It's just wind and hail size or hail size. So, for a severe thunderstorm warning, you have to have at least 60-mile-an-hour winds and or inch-size hail. So we were nowhere near that, but we did hit that 40-mile-an-hour potential threshold with some of those storms. So you may not get a lot of alerts for today, but that doesn't mean that the storms aren't going to cause some problems, especially when it comes to rainfall. Now, as I take you into tomorrow, again, you can just clearly see things are just building up, and they just become more and more widespread the deeper into the afternoon that we go. This is 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, my friends, and we're pretty covered up with storms. Again, really slow, really erratic movement to begin with here. Just multiple waves coming through. It's not out of the question, Blue Goose. Again, I don't want to hype up anything, but from last Friday, so 3 days ago, to this Wednesday, with all the rain that we've seen and as much more as you're going to see me show, it's certainly not out of the question, right? From here to Wednesday, I think we're going to get some spots with 4 to 8 inches of rain. Again, isolated, but it's not out of the question. I mean, look at what you're seeing here on our Tuesday. Look how widespread it is, look how heavy it's going to be, and look how it's not moving very quickly. So tomorrow could just be one of those days that we get covered up early and we stay that way for most of the day with very few breaks of any length of time, right? We talked about this over the Labor Day weekend, right? Is it a washout? No. But are you going to find wide breaks in this rain to get outdoors and get around a golf in or play some tennis or get the yard work done? It's going to be hard, especially when you got to watch out for the lightning as well this time of the year too. So I expect it to be an extremely, extremely wet, stormy Tuesday, and I expect these storms to continue to stick around into Wednesday morning. This is 8 a.m. Let me pause that back up. So this is Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, and look at all of the rain that could already be out there early on Wednesday morning. Again, one model run of the HRRR may not have the right location, but I certainly believe that we will have some pre-dawn rain and storms. I mean, this morning, it took until about 2:30 for the last rain and storms to completely diminish off of the coast of Volusia and Brevard counties as well. Double A says, guess it's smart to cancel boating trip from Palm Coast to Fort Matanzas. When are you going, Double A? I never like to give, vacation, my opinions, right? Because everyone has different weather tolerances, right? And different plans. But obviously, if you're doing boating, and we're talking about these storms, you certainly want the weather to be quiet, depending on what vessel you're going to be on and what the route is going to be. But yes, I would be very cautious in the next few days, Double A, of making any longer sojourns, even along the coastal waters. You got to watch out for the storms. Obviously, it's going to be kicking up the seas a little bit as well. So depending on how big your vessel is and what the plan is for that, I would be very cautious, no doubt about it. Yeah, Farrah got some good rain in Ormond last night. Yeah, I mean, again, Orlando area, Seminole County, Orange County got some good storms last night as well. This afternoon, help me out. Fort Matanzas, that's north, correct? From Palm Coast, right? If I'm not mistaken. I mean, and you know, the hardest thing about this is the lightning factor, man. You just don't want to get caught out, even in the coastal waters with lightning, man. You know, this is the next couple of hours, maybe a bit of a breakup. Can't say you're not going to get lucky, but, you know, if you do go, I'd be very cautious, no doubt about it. I'd have an alternate plan to get back as soon as possible. It's a great question, though. I always, look, growing up in Crystal River, being a boater myself, always out of the water, you know, my dad was always very cautious about it as well. I mean, you know, you don't want to get caught out. We have been caught out in a few storms before, and it was not fun. On the intercoastal, I mean, again, if you can duck into a harbor quickly, it's not out of the question, but yeah, you got a double A. You just never like to be exposed, right? You never like to be exposed. Now, we were always boating in the Gulf. We weren't, you know, not the intercoastal, we were on the West Coast, so we were always exposed when we were out there, man. But dang, I remember some of the storms as a kid, trying to hide in the center console, wanting nothing to do with them. It was not fun. All right, so that's what it looks like there. Let's talk about what rainfall the HRRR model is pointing out. All right, so you saw the model, and let me be clear, this is just through Wednesday morning, okay? From now through Wednesday morning, not taking into account anything that fell this weekend or late last week. And this is what I mean. So when you look at the HRRR model, the one we just looked at, you have some spots of 8 to 10 inches of rain. Now again, does this mean that it is going to fall and be that high or in these particular areas? No. But this is a very high resolution model that is only going out to Wednesday morning, right? We have to respect what it's showing, all right? So you get the idea that along the East Coast, and we'll look at the West Coast in a second, there is the opportunity for significant rainfall the next few days, all right? Again, is it going to fall on Palm Coast and Flagler Beach compared to, you know, Daytona and Port Orange, which the model has a lot less on? That's hard to tell. But the opportunity for significant rain that could approach double digits in inches is plausible given the scenario that we're in. And closer to that boundary, which again is draped right over this area at this point in time, helping to feed in the moisture and the lift in the atmosphere, there you go. And again, along the West Coast, you're gonna find spots that go over a half foot of rain too. I mean, look at Tampa Bay. Look at the Brandon area, in Gibsonton, in Plant City. Look at Bradenton. I mean, 5, 6, 7 inches of rain. You know, Palm Bay, Satellite Beach, anywhere that you guys see grays, that's not great. Then you get into the pinks, that's no fun. Then you get into those reds and yellows, and that's the problem. But again, right, here's what I would say about this. I mean, everyone has a good amount of rain as a possibility. The coasts will more than likely have the better chance for the more excessive rainfall, but that's in the weeds. If you remember the excessive rainfall risk for today, look, even the smart people at the Climate Prediction Center were like, you know what? We're just going to blanket the entire state. Because it's really hard to tell with all the boundaries that are under play exactly where the locally heavy rainfall is going to develop. It's always a difficult forecast here in Florida. But the opportunity for very significant rain, let me be clear about this again, from right now to just Wednesday morning, the HRRR model is painting on a lot of 3, 4, but even 6, 7, 8 plus inches of rain in spots. Okay? So please be prepared for a lot of wet weather coming in, for these storms to be very slow and not moving very quickly. And then that's one reason why they're producing some of this copious amounts. And if we look at this, no, I'm just going to give you an example, right? So Sanford area, 5 inches of rain. They could get a 1/4 inch today, a 1/4 inch tomorrow, and 4.5 inches of rain on Wednesday. That variability is also in the forecast. It's not going to be linear by any stretch of the imagination. Some spots could get very heavy rain today and then miss the heavier showers Tuesday, Wednesday, but ultimately still end up with 4 to 5 inches. But the opportunity for some extremely high rainfall totals will continue to be in the forecast here through Wednesday night. So we aren't even picking up Wednesday night on this model, but Thursday we should start to see a little bit of a breakup. So not a lot of fun. So I've got some forecasts for you guys. Obviously they are going to include a heck of a lot of rain and storms. Obviously with the extra cloud coverage and the early onset of rain, temperatures aren't going to be outrageously hot. So in the attractions area, again, it's an 80% chance for storms tomorrow and Wednesday, maybe even closer to 100%, 60% chance Thursday, maybe a little bit more sunshine as well. But we actually have a little bit of a north push to some mid-level winds. What's ultimately going to happen, friends, is that boundary is going to get pushed to the south and it will dissipate there. But we should actually nudge in a little bit of drier air with a little bit of a northerly flow at the mid-levels starting Wednesday afternoon and evening, and that will help to dry us out through the day on Thursday. Now, still, it's a 60% chance on Thursday, but that should be the trend, and then even drier weather for Friday and potentially the weekend ahead as well. But based on the timing that I've seen to get that north push to get this boundary south of us and dry us out a bit, that's going to start late Wednesday and then really in earnest beginning to pick up on Thursday and on Friday. For St. Pete, it's an all-day rain and storm chance tomorrow. It's an all-day rain and storm chance on Wednesday. Again, at least a 60 or 80% chance. I wouldn't expect there to be a lot of sunshine, with afternoon storms redeveloping for Thursday. So we might get a little bit of a break Thursday morning and then seeing the more typical storms on Thursday afternoon. Again, temperatures will be below average with the extra rainfall potential. 86 tomorrow, 87 Wednesday, 88 Thursday. In morning lows, that'll be comfortable, especially along the coast. They'll be in the low to mid 70s. For Ocala, again, we're closer to our boundary now in the northern part of our area, so the storm chance is even higher, right? So 90% chance tomorrow, really stormy day, heavy rainfall, portions of Marion County and Alachua and Citrus and Northern Lake and, inland sides of Flagler and Putnam counties. These are all areas that could get 3, 4, 5, 6 inches of rain in a daily basis the next couple of days. Okay, storms continue on Wednesday. Again, not going to be everywhere, but that opportunity is there. And then because places like Ocala are farther north, they'll feel the impacts of the drier air earlier on Thursday, so their rain chance gets cut even more, right? A little bit farther south on Thursday, you still have a better chance, but you get up in Marion County and it's down to a 40% chance for more isolated storms. Look at these temperatures again. I mean, look, 83. For tomorrow, 84 Wednesday, 85 on Thursday. Morning lows that will be just in to the lower 70s. And in Daytona Beach, right? Again, an all-day storm chance tomorrow. Still very stormy on Wednesday, right? Slightly drier on Thursday to a 50% chance. But we have to watch out again for some excessive rainfall in some of these areas. 85 the daytime high the next couple of days. Actually, again, it might feel even a little bit better, even lower humidity on Thursday, 84, and morning lows that will be in the mid 70s. The mushroom count in my yard, Blue Goose, is outrageous, and they're huge. They're huge, and it's been that way for the last month or two as well. In specific parts of the lawn. Does anyone have any specific forecast questions for me as we move on? If you guys have a question about what I've discussed, let me know in the comments section below. We're back over to the live radar, taking a look again at what's happening here out of the Tampa area, where a large cluster of showers and storms is beginning to try and spiral inland. This will continue to progress inland through the day. We will get some activity to develop ahead of this main line. It's not like we just have to watch this blob come in. There will be some storms that will develop out ahead of this, but that could be a very heavy rain producer for the immediate Pinellas, Manatee, Sarasota County areas there, right along Highway 19 and, even towards places like Holmes Beach and Anna Maria Island and Cortez, even back down towards the Venice area as well. But especially up towards, coastal Pinellas County, right? So Treasure Island and Indian Shores, Indian Rocks Beach, Bel Air Beach, beautiful areas there, Clearwater, even towards Dunedin, Palm Harbor, all could get prepared for very heavy rainfall and just really persistent rain, right? Just overcast skies, a lot of moderate activity with some embedded showers and storms as well. And again, this activity is creeping north. I mentioned this when we first came on. So right towards Four Corners and getting a little bit closer to Lake Buena Vista at the hour, Hunters Creek. Now, the one lightning strike is gone, and I don't see any lightning that has redeveloped in the last 15 minutes. That's good. So we might get some wet weather coming over the attractions, but and iDrive, but hopefully no lightning associated with that at this point in time. And again, just really spotty rain in our northern zones at this point. I'll go back over to our Melbourne radar live here. And again, we'll pick up these areas. So you notice that the motion of our storms here up in St. John's, southern St. John's and Flagler County, kind of spiraling in towards Alachua and Marion are all out of the east. But this activity here is coming out of the southwest, right? Two different features to bring us the different, movement of these clusters at this point in time. And again, that's the main boundary, but you also have this mid-level spin here as well. I'm going to go back out to the Viz Sat Rad here so you guys can see that. Again, really interesting feature right there. Mid-level, not tropical in nature, right? But an enhancement of all of the instability and everything else that I think we're going to end up seeing here. So just a really wet forecast, from time to time. All right, let's go back over to our cameras. Love to show you guys. And I love to go back to these because, look, in a 35, 40-minute time frame, has things changed? At this point in time, again, a little bit more vertical development to some of the clouds nearer the west coast from this camera in Winter Garden. Again, that's in the western side of Orange County. We're looking towards the west. Several decks of clouds, even a little bit of blue sky. So just variably cloudy skies, but again, no threat imminently for rain there in western Orange County. You can see some of the darker clouds building up over Winter Park. Those are still relatively detached at this point in time. So, they could produce a little bit of light rain, but nothing that's going to get to too extreme any point in time in the short term there in the Winter Park area as we look back off towards the east. Conway, again, off the east coast, a little bit of development vertically, but still in the metro Orlando area. Things look nice. When we have the blue sky, it's going to be warming up. Still can't rule out a couple of areas, getting above 90 for today, which means feels like temperatures in some spots will get into the low triple digits. That should go away tomorrow, though, with more overcast skies and certainly a threat for more rain and storms, even in the morning hours the next couple of days. And again, you can clearly see the overcast skies and that rain getting closer to the Magic Kingdom areas here. And again, you can see some squirrely clouds from time to time. This is going to be, one of those things to monitor. Again, even if we get a funnel cloud, it's not a guarantee that we're going to get a tornado warning. The Weather Service watches this closely, but these spin-ups can occur and be on the ground for a couple of seconds. And again, some inherent rotation with the boundary collisions, some potential for a funnel cloud, or an isolated tornado is not out of the question the next couple of days with everything that we have into play. But trying to get some rain to sneak back up towards the attractions area at this point in time. Okay, my friends, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Couple of notes here real quick. Obviously, I've highlighted how wet it's going to be. I'm going to be monitoring the situation closely. You guys know I do as well. If there are storms that are getting on the stronger side, right? Or obviously, if we have any kind of warning, severe thunderstorm, tornado warning, or clusters of special weather statements, I'll jump on live and cover that with you guys. There's also always the opportunity, like I did Saturday, to run the radar system so you guys have a live look at the radars, you guys have a live look at our cameras. It might be one of those things where even I might jump on from time to time and cover it live. Now, in that scenario, I'm probably not going to be on live myself the whole time because we could be running this radar 4, 5, 6 hours, but we have that ability for you guys, right? So it is something that on a case-by-case basis, I'm going to monitor. It's why I always tell you guys to keep the notifications on for the channel, right? So I appreciate you guys liking and subscribing, but if you really want to keep up to date, because this is a live-only channel, so you're not going to get inundated with notifications, go to that bell icon that you guys see, click on that, click notifications and all, and then that way you guys will know when I'm on live, because I'm only on live for these Monday and Friday shows and anytime there's impactful weather across Central Florida. And we'll have that opportunity over the next couple days before I think we begin to dry out on Thursday and Friday. But obviously, again, if you do get flood advisories in your areas or even flash flood warnings, please heed those very carefully. Obviously, if there's water over the roadways, turn around, don't drown. And again, excessive rainfall is going to be a big issue out there as well. All right, guys, again, appreciate you taking a quick second, hitting that like button for me on this live stream. Thank you for subscribing to the channel as well. I'll monitor the situation for you guys closely over the next several days. And again, if I need to come on live, have the radar on live, I'll absolutely do that. As you guys have already said, the very latest I'll see you guys is going to be for Friday's show at 1 o'clock. So until I next see you guys, take care, stay safe, watch out for the wet and stormy weather, and I'll see you soon.